Okay, welcome everybody to the Azure and AI Show. And today with me is Joseph. And Joseph's going to do some stuff there in Teams for us. And Dan is with us here, and he's going to do some stuff about the AI Fest. And what was our other topic again, Dan?
The Student Ambassadors Program.
Okay, student ambassadors. And myself, Frank Falvey, here in Cork. I will maybe do some stuff with Copilot around some of the topics of AI agents. So, Joseph, can you share your screen with us?
Okay, cool. I can do that quickly.
Cheers.
Share my screen. Okay, Frank, let me know when my screen is visible.
Um, no, it's just your other profile is showing, not your screen.
Okay, so let me stop sharing and share again then. I think it should be
Okay.
up now, right?
Yeah, we got it now. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. So let me just quickly come here. So this is the Microsoft Cloud command line um, interface. So how do you get here? You go through cmd.ms. So when you do this, you would see that you have a lot of shortcuts. So these have proven to be very, very useful, right? Because today my conversation is going to be about Microsoft Teams. And because I know that Teams takes some time to open, I just want to open that somewhere while we are talking about this. So if you go to cmd.ms, right, you will see that you have range of nice um, URLs. So you can even filter. Say, for example, you want to talk about Entra related admin centers. You can just put it there. So if you want to create users from Entra, or if you want to manage users, you just click on this. So it's enusers.cmd.ms. So that's going to take you to the Microsoft Entra where you manage your users straight without even having to go to the identity admin center and then so on. So if you want to maybe look at Microsoft 365 URLs, you just filter. This is M365 admin center. This is Exchange. You have SharePoint and so on. So you have Teams, Power BI. Then if you want to look at Azure, you can just do Azure. So for me, I find this very useful. So apart from filtering from here, you could also do it from this side. You can do Entra, you can do Defender, and so on, right? So just filter for you if you like an Intune person, security, users, and all of that. So you can really do a lot of things. But today, where I want us to go to is in Microsoft 365, and it's not just like everything about Microsoft 365, it's about the Teams Admin Center. So to access the Teams Admin Center, really, you can do that from admin.teams.microsoft.com, and it will land you at this admin center that is opening here. So for some reason, this admin center takes like, for me, takes longer time to load than the other ones, but I just want to maybe give it a refresh. So, but what I want us to do today, I'm happy that Dan is on the call because Dan is an expert when it comes to Microsoft Teams, and I like to have these conversations where I have people like Dan. So, while I was creating Teams from the, um, Teams Admin Center, and I realized that when I create a team, while creating that team, I have the option to. So the way it works is, if you have the privilege to create team in Teams Admin Center, you can create the team without you necessarily having to log in into the team.
I think I lost audio on my end.
Yeah, Joseph, your sound is gone there. You just froze for a bit.
I'll toss something into the chat.
Yeah.
Frank, am I back?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, apologies. Okay, apologies. I'm just trying to manage my bandwidth. Maybe I just turn off my camera. May just help.
Yeah. Does help all right
Okay,
sometimes.
so yeah, I think that's going to help. So I was
Yeah.
trying to mention that, yeah. So when you create team from the client portal, you automatically become an owner of the team, right? But if you are creating, so there is a script that an admin can run, and only certain number of or certain people in a specific security group will be the only ones to be able to create M365 group. And when you do that, the only option available to create team in a tenant is to do that from the Teams admin center. So if you are creating a team from the Teams admin center, you can choose not to be a member of the team as an administrator. So, but if you do that by coming to Teams and then you come to manage team, right, from the Teams admin center, when you add the team, one thing that is certain is that you cannot create the team without an admin, right? You have to create the team, and then let's say I'm calling this Azure and AI Show. All right. I can give a description, it's optional. So if you look at it, it's making me the automatic owner of the team. So one thing I want us to look out for on this is that if I want to remove you can see the apply down here, right? If I don't want to be a member of this team, I have to remove myself. And then this is what I want us to look at. Dan, please, I want you to pay attention to this because I need your expert advice on this. Now, I would need to add someone, and what it is saying here is add an owner to the team, right? So if I come here and let's say I want to add this guy as a team owner, okay, I think I can look for Paul. That is easier for me to look for. So I'm adding this guy as the owner of the team. And of course, the privacy of the team is private. And you know that I can convert a private team to a public team. I can convert a public team to a private team, but I cannot for those that are writing MS 700, you cannot convert a private channel to a standard channel. Neither can you convert a standard channel to a private channel or a shared channel, as the case may be. So these are kind of the confusing questions that you may have in your MS 700. So I'm making it a private channel, a private team, right? So if you look at this, I search for team owner and I'm making it Paul, right? So if I click on and the name of the team so that I don't look for it so far, I want to copy it. I click on apply. So I want that team to be created in a bit. Okay, so that team is created. I want you to really look out for this that I've been able to see. So Azure and AI Show is the name of the team. If I click on the team right now, you would see that instead of Paul being an owner, since I added him as an owner, he's going to put up the members rule, which is against what I made him when I was creating the team. And because of that, I can remove Paul from here. So that means this team is existing and it does not have an owner, neither does it have a member, right? Now, if I'm coming here to add a member, let's say I'm bringing up, I don't really know people I have on this tenant. Let's say I'm bringing up this guy. Maybe I have this guy here. Let me see. Yeah. I'm adding this guy as a member, right? Let's say I'm also trying to add this guy as another member. Yeah, I'm applying that as member. Okay, so it's cool. I've been able to add him. So if I'm going to add another person from here directly, and I'm making that person um, an owner of the team, who do I have here? Maybe Solomon. I think I have Solomon here. Let me see. Yeah, I have Solomon here. So I'm applying this. So this guy becomes the owner of the team. Now the point is that because this guy is an owner of the team, I intentionally added as an owner of the team. If I want to remove the guy, it will yell at me. Solomon is the only owner of the team. They can't be removed until a new team owner is assigned. So assign another owner, then try again. Okay, so I'll just cancel. So normally I should be able to promote this person from member to owner, and at that point I should be able to remove Solomon from the team, right? So the guy is off, and then if I must remove this guy, then it means that again I must promote, either add this guy, promote him to an owner. And I think an owner, from the last time I checked, I mean, a team can have 100 owners maximum, right? So we need to be aware of that a team can have as much as 100 owners, but not more than that, all right? So because I have these two guys as owners, so I can remove this guy, all right? So, and it's remaining this person. Now, I want us to do one thing. Let me come back to manage team. I want to create the team, right? I'll just call it Azure Show, right? Let me call this Azure Show because I really want us to see this. Now it's making me the automatic owner. If I go ahead to create this team, it is not going to pick me as an owner of the team. It will make me a member. Now what I want us to do is when it makes someone that was supposed to be an owner a member, let us try to promote the person to an owner role and see if we can remove the only owner from the team. Because at this point, I think there is a fail here. Then when I'm done, you may just make comments. So I'm bringing Paul back as an owner of this Azure show, right? And it is saying team owner. I'm making this guy an owner, right? And I'm clicking on apply. I'm expecting that, or by the design, or what I would expect is this guy should be an owner of the team, and then but unfortunately I'm going to see him only as a member of that team. So the next point I want to look at is, now if I click on this, unfortunately this guy is not an owner. Now let me deliberately make him, that's like a second attempt, right, to now make him an owner. It is at that point I want to try to remove the guy, and then I get this message. So I think where I've observed it is that I can't make the guy from there. I can't make someone an owner on the inception of the group or of the team unless I have to come here to manually promote the person to an owner. So just one more thing I want to show before I pass the mic over to Frank and Dan is here. If I come to teams, manage teams rather, if I come to manage team and I see that I have um, s- five different channels here, right? If I come here and I select this team and I come to edit the team here, I can really I can really convert the team. Let's see if the privacy, there is need for the privacy of the team to be converted, I can convert it to become a public team, right? And then I can apply. Then it becomes a public team, right? For everybody to be able to join, right? Now, but if I come inside of the team, so because this is what confuses some people, and there is need for us to clarify this. There are three types of Teams channels. There are standard channels, there are private channels, and there are shared channels. So standard channels are channels that everyone in the team is automatically a member of. Private channels are channels within a team that you choose who should become member of those channels. And then you have shared channels where people who are not even member of the team within your organization can be invited. And if you are maintaining a B2B collab with another organization, you can even invite someone from outside of your organization directly into a team's channel without the person being a member of the entire team. And that is the concept behind shared channel. Now, if that is correct, you see how we're able to convert a private team to a public team to a private team as a need arise. You can revert it, right? But you can't do same with channels. So this should be emphasized because if you're writing exams like I mentioned, you will have this question. This is announcement channel and it's a standard channel. Let's say there is any need for me to see I want to convert the channel to become a private channel from standard channel. If I come to edit, you see that I don't have option to change the privacy. The type is standard and I cannot change it. So just to strike a balance, you can convert the privacy of a team, but the privacy of a channel within the team, you cannot convert, right? So these are points to be noted. So, but my question to the house now is, what do we call this from the this experience I have here, right? AI show quickly, AI show, and then I'm the here it picks me as the owner and I'm applying, and then the team is created, and yet I am not the owner, and I have to manually now make myself an owner of the team before I eventually become an owner of it. So this is the team here, and then here saying I'm a member. So Frank, Dan, I would like you to contribute to that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great demo and a great find too. If that's the case, if it's even your account that should be the owner, that is a bug in the admin center. I thought you meant where you have a team that somehow becomes orphaned, and I don't know if that's considered really a bug more than just like an administrative change that needs to be made. But this does seem like it's more of a bug than than just like how it behaves. There is PowerShell to create teams, and typically the PowerShell, when you run it as an admin, the admin becomes the owner as well. So the other interesting thing would be to see if it's hey Scott, there you go, Frank, you've got Scott's attention.
Yeah, very good.
Came on to thank Frank for getting his MVP, but Frank wasn't here that particular day.
Okay.
Attention now. I'm sure he was looking for you at the MVP summit too, Frank.
Yeah.
I should have mentioned it. I did mention to him that reminded him that he had come on and thanking him for his involvement with our show. But Joseph, if you don't know who to talk to in the Teams team, a lot of times Brian, who runs the PGI calls, is a good person to start with. So I can put you in touch with him. That's always been my challenge. Is I know one person to talk to, but I don't necessarily know all of the people or who owns that as a particular technology. So a lot of times starting with somebody in the Teams org is a good place to put you in touch with the right person to talk to.
Okay, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I appreciate it.
All right.
We
Thank you.
occasionally have provided the wider audience the option of coming and joining us on StreamYard, but I didn't forward the invite to Scott today.
Okay.
Have you spoken to him, Frank?
No, no.
Okay. If you are connected to him, you're welcome to send the StreamYard link. I'm not sure if he's able to join us, but the fact that there's an iOS StreamYard client now makes it much easier, even if you're on the go, to like pop in to say hi for a second. So I was about to use that, but we got home before I had to go live.
Oh, okay.
And so now I'm streaming to my LinkedIn and my Facebook. Awesome. That's great.
Very good.
When I use the StreamYard iOS guest app, the downside to that is I can't send it to my feed or to Facebook or elsewhere. But when I use the desktop web browser client, I can send it to 2 channels. And so, Frank, I don't know how many channels we've got going this week.
So we're streaming out to 3 LinkedIn channels, 2 YouTube channels, and Facebook.
That's awesome.
We're streaming out to 6 different platforms.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just probably put that up on the banner just to this week.
I'll pop over to my LinkedIn and
2. Yeah.
send that to Scott.
So there we go. 3 LinkedIn channels, 2 YouTubes, and Facebook. So do you want to share your screen with us, Dan? And
Sure.
you want to do something on the AI Fest?
Yeah. Let me share my screen here. If Scott joins us, Frank, watch for that. And if he can
Yeah.
make it, feel free to invite him to join us here. We'll hop over here to my window.
Okay, we can see it there now.
Awesome. So if you go to, in a browser, aka.ms/AI Skills Fest, this is where Microsoft is celebrating for 50 days the training that is available on Microsoft Learn and various platforms for different types of professionals. So if you're in public sector, if you're a business professional, a tech professional, or a student, there are various lessons that are available for you to take and learn about Microsoft AI skills. So I believe.
We have Scott with us now.
Awesome. Hey, Scott.
Hey, sorry, I'm just heading out. I just wanted to stop by and say hi. I'm just sitting on my porch.
That's awesome.
Hi, Scott.
How are you all? How are you, Joseph? How are you, Frank?
I'm good, thank you. I'm fine, thank you.
Scott, I was just telling him about how I met you again at the MVP summit. That Frank wasn't there in person,
Yeah.
neither was Joseph, but thanks for stopping by.
No,
Your
of
support
course.
is always welcome.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're here on your Saturday afternoon, or depending on what time zone you're in, putting out good information and sharing it with folks. And I was literally putting my glasses on and heading out with my son for lunch, and it popped up on my feed, and I says, hey, I'm going to go check out Dan and Friends, and here you are.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So
Yeah,
good job,
is from
Frank.
Cork,
You're putting
Ireland.
out, yeah, I see that there's 3 LinkedIn channels, 2 YouTube. So thank you for your work and your effort. That's very, very clever and very industrious to have it going to so many places.
Yeah, we had it one week there. We had it going out through 12 different platforms, 6 LinkedIns, 4 YouTubes, Twitter, Facebook.
Well, I feel like I've interrupted I feel like I've stepped in on a
Oh, no.
dinner party I wasn't invited to.
No.
We appreciate you.
I love the story you tell about the Scott and Mark show and the Mark and Scott show.
Yeah. We go back and forth. We registered both domains
That's awesome.
because we don't know whose ego is bigger, so we gotta figure
That's
out.
how I feel when we do this, because Frank came up with the Azure and AI show, but he just hit 15,000 followers. On
congratulations! That's exciting.
Yeah.
And it always surprises me with 15,000. You'd think that since we work together a lot, that we'd have hundreds or thousands of people in common, but it always surprises me how little overlap that I have out of 15,000 people. I would guess 2,000, 3,000 people are probably the same, Microsoft or other MVPs. But typically it's lucky if I've got 300 or 400 people in common.
Now, people don't realize how big the earth is, and there's a huge audience out there just waiting for you. And we feel like there's the couple of degrees of separation, but people have huge audiences on their own. So the fact that you've joined forces and then now you've got Joseph hanging out with you just means you're going to get a bigger crowd.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have Seena Khan, who's in Bahrain. So same kind of thing. Like, the globe is a very large place.
It's brought together here virtually, honestly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Too.
Yeah. And I'm looking here, Dan, at your credibility bookshelf behind you. Joseph, that's when you have something cool behind you, it builds credibility. And most people put books behind them to show that they are readers. We see that Dan is not trying to send that message to us here. What message are you sending me with your credibility behind you there, sir?
Do you know what show this is the set from?
I can't tell because you've got the skills thing up there. You're sharing your screen. So
okay.
I'm zooming in on you, sir.
Yeah. So this is a
is that from the IT crowd?
IT crowd? The IT crowd, yes.
There it is. Okay.
The number one guess is that your basement?
And no. When
my basement.
when I had more hair, you'd be surprised. But I used to get recognized on the street as Chris O'Dowd, and I had longer, curlier hair, and people would say that I looked like him because I guess it's beady eyes, and we're both Scottish. But that looked familiar to me, sir. So you've built your credibility already has been increased.
There you go. This is my favorite virtual background if I get to pick one. And I don't have this on my phone typically. So if I'm not at my computer, I don't have the IT crowd background loaded on my phone, but I need to do that.
Nice. Mine is simply the park next to my house. So it's just a field of nothing and a kid's playground.
There you go. Well, thanks for jumping on.
I'll let you gentlemen go, but thank you for having me, and I hope you have a fun afternoon sharing knowledge and spreading the word.
Excellent. Thanks for joining.
All right. Good to see you, Frank. Nice to meet you, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sue, Scott. Yeah, bye. Bye, Scott.
Yeah, so Scott is a developer advocate. I think I came across him when we both worked at Microsoft. And somebody at Microsoft introduced me to him virtually. They said, "Hey, Dan, have you seen Scott Hanselman's Windows, probably 8 at the time, Windows 7 or Windows 8 demos and content?" And I said, "No, who's that?" And they introduced me to either a YouTube channel or somewhere where Scott maybe internally was sharing really great demos. And this goes back years and years, and had never met him. And then a manager that I had on a project, Jeff Rubing from Chicago, who has joined me on TikTok a couple times. Jeff asked, "Have you ever met Scott Hanselman?" And I said, I know of him. I don't know if he knows of me, but I certainly, may see him at like a Microsoft event. And Jeff said, "Well, tell him, I said, hi, we know each other. We worked on some projects together." Jeff is notable in my network because Jeff is one of the patent holders on the Microsoft snipping tool, which I can't tell you how many times a day I use the Microsoft snipping tool. It comes up even when I'm not on Windows. I often find like, hey, what's the screen keyboard shortcut for screen scrapes or screen snips? And Microsoft patented that back in, I want to say 2003. And Jeff was one of the patent holders on the snipping tool. So Jeff asked me if I ever met Scott to make sure, I passed along our mutual connection. And that's either MVP Summit or Microsoft Ignite out in Seattle. I think I was at Ignite. I think I was at one of the Seattle Ignites. I ran into Scott. I had an opportunity to get a picture with him and tell him of this mutual connection in Chicago. So the AI Skills Fest is going on for probably another 45 days or so. It kicked off on April 8th with a 24-hour Guinness Book of World Record attempt. Many of us in the Microsoft community have either hosted events around that, gone and spread the word about it. There is a TikTok Microsoft Learn channel that they're trying to get up to 1,000 people, followers, so they can go live on. So if you're on TikTok, feel free to follow tiktok.com/Microsoft Learn. And they've got a few videos up there, and I believe I need the @ symbol before I do the name of the channel, Microsoft Learn. There we go. They are up to, log into TikTok to see this, so I have to log in. But I believe they're up to maybe 300 or 400 followers at this point. And Microsoft Learn has probably about 8 videos so far. So I've been spreading the word about that. And then, Frank, the other thing that I mentioned, besides the AI Skills Fest, is Microsoft does have a student ambassadors program besides the MVP program. And I know, Frank, one of the things that we did when we were in Ireland, in Dublin, touring LinkedIn, was we invited all of the student ambassadors from Ireland to that event. What did we end up with? Did we have 3 with us?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, I think we had 3 or 4, and we had somebody that became a Microsoft intern in software development. So if we look at Ireland specifically for student ambassadors, we had Brian and we had Doyson Sola join us. And we reached out to the other folks that are listed here. At one point, there were several other student ambassadors. So I think through graduation or through potentially not renewing, either because they're out of school or they just had other things on their plates. This list is subject to change. And also subject to change is their role within the student ambassador program. So when I started reaching out to student ambassadors in Ireland, it was primarily because we were planning a tour of the LinkedIn offices. And if you've ever been to the Microsoft offices, you really just need to know somebody who works for Microsoft. Unfortunately, even though LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, you need to know somebody that works at LinkedIn to tour a LinkedIn office. You can't just reach out to somebody you know at Microsoft and have them schedule or meet you at a LinkedIn office. It's separate security, it's separate processes, procedures. So we reached out to a couple people that worked at LinkedIn Dublin. We got Jack to agree to help us with organizing a tour. And we brought Brian, another one of his colleagues at the same university. And we also had, I want to say it's B.H. I know I've got him as a friend on LinkedIn. Boomant, I want to say. Let me see if I can find him here real quick. Boomant is an incoming SWE intern at Microsoft, works in Dublin, and he joined us as well. And Boomant was asking, could I let him know about a Spain tour at the Madrid office? And I told him, hey, it's kind of 50-50 whether it's going to happen. And I was in Spain after I was in Ireland and then the UK with you, Frank, I went to Spain to visit some family and celebrate my birthday there. So I told them I'm already going to be there. If I tour LinkedIn, that's great. If I don't, it's not the last time I'll be in Spain or in Ireland. But told him don't make a special trip if it's just to visit the LinkedIn office. We did get there, but it was kind of like cross your fingers that we were going to get there. And then the other thing that I can share with all of you is that I do have my book that got published. So this is actually a photo of the two folks, Gabriel, who we met at the MCT European Summit in Manchester, England. And this is Anna over here. Anna is another MVP that lives in Madrid. They're both from, or in the Madrid, I guess I'll call it metropolitan area. I think Anna said that she's not in Madrid proper. I believe Gabriel was in Madrid, but maybe a town next to it. So the book came out. This is a picture of the Rafael Nadal room, and is covered in tennis balls on the wall. So the pictures on my printed book are actually from the Madrid office. And the book itself was published to help people, whether they're student ambassadors, whether they're people thinking about, community engagement, personal branding, trying to grow their audience on LinkedIn or potentially elsewhere, to think about something to post every single day. Now that I've gotten in that habit, it becomes much easier to think about Frank on Saturdays, our show, the Azure and AI Show, or on Sundays, I've come across some people that have consistently posted 4 profiles of people within their LinkedIn network to give them more details. Just what Scott was saying when he stopped by, right? The fact that Joseph, you, myself, Stephen, Frank, we've worked together a lot. You'd think that our networks would look very, very similar because of, the fact that we're both into Microsoft, that we have these things in common. But the fact that we're all in different portions of the world also speaks to the fact that, Joseph, you've got connections that I haven't met, that I'm sure you could help me to get to know. But the same thing for me. Like, I've got people in my network that I'm sure I've run across, either working with them in Chicago or working with them at different jobs over my career. Some of them I've just connected with and I don't necessarily know personally, but folks like Scott, I have had an opportunity to meet and have a quick discussion when we've both been in a spot in Redmond out by the Microsoft campus.
That's beautiful. Honestly.
Yeah. So student ambassadors, if you become a gold student ambassador, the other thing that you have an opportunity to do is to actually apply to become a MVP. A Most Valuable Professional is an award, not an achievement. The student ambassador and the different levels, becoming a beta or a gold level student ambassador, are based on achievements. There are things that you're asked to do to move up in those different designations within the student ambassadors program. So the student ambassadors program looks very different from the MVP program. The other thing I noticed, Frank, Joseph, and Stephen, was the student ambassadors program has about half of the numbers that the MVP program has at this point. I assumed those would be maybe the reverse, or at least as many student ambassadors. So I was surprised to find that the student ambassador numbers are around 2,000, where the MVP program is approaching right around 4,000.
So, Dan, is this strictly for students in colleges, or even those who are out of school already?
Yeah, great question. So you do, when you apply to become a student ambassador, the application is available when you go to studentambassadors.com. That redirects you under the MVP site. you do list an affiliation with a school. So I don't think there's an age limit. There is an age minimum in the frequently asked questions of 16 years old. So you can't be under 16 if you're in, say high school and you haven't reached the age of 16. You have to be 16 years or older. So there are in the U.S. what would be considered minors or secondary school students that qualify. But usually you list a college, a university, or a school affiliation to become a student ambassador. There's a whole, when you go to that website, there's a whole like frequently asked questions, and there's a nomination form. And then there are student ambassadors that you can find with your country or your, potentially area. And they're a really good resource for you to reach out to. I've reached out to them primarily to connect and to offer, when we've done things within our community. In Chicago, for instance, I invited some of them to the Microsoft Ignite event. And whether they attended Microsoft Ignite in person or just because they were in Chicago, there were a number of kind of after hours parties and things that we got invited to that I wanted to make sure the student ambassadors were aware of.
Makes sense, honestly. I'll check out that site myself because, I mentor a lot of young folks who are still in colleges, so that if there's anything I can suggest to them also to try, of course.
Yeah. I know at the MVP Summit, one of the not recorded sessions was from Pablo that I'll put you in touch with. Pablo Vermicelli, I want to say is his last name. Pablo runs the Student Ambassadors Program, so he is a good person to reach out. Vera Mendy is his last name. And Pablo is a good person to reach out to if you have questions about the process, or if you have a student that, is having some questions about things related to the Student Ambassadors Program. I'll put that in the private chat here. So you've got his contact information. But because they're using this as both student engagement at college level and then also levels, this is one of the things that I know we've discussed about the MVP program. It would be nice if there was like an onboarding or a way where you could get recognition for your community contributions, maybe before a award is awarded, because one thing that happens with the MVP is once you get your MVP, a lot of times you're not necessarily plugged into what's next if you didn't kind of research or meet a lot of people that have already done MVPs for a while. So Azure McFarland coined the term MVP baby. And I really like that because when I became an MVP, I still feel like a toddler. I still feel like I'm kind of, I'm walking, but I'm not comfortable walking. And I have a lot of accidents and I trip a lot still, where there are pieces to the MVP program that I'm still hearing about or learning about. And the Student Ambassadors program was one of those where I wasn't all that aware of it. I think I had come across it at some point. And then maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I heard about it from the MVP Summit, and informally met somebody, Corey, that was on the team that managed the student ambassadors, and reached out to her a couple times with questions. And then Pablo is the latest person that I've met in person.
Very good. Dan, it was great to have Scott on, wasn't it?
Yes.
Stephen, you were a few minutes late. You missed this famous day.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been a while I've been here.
Yeah.
Always been busy these weekends now.
So Dan, I don't know, can you see this?
Yes. Using Copilot AI, Microsoft 365 Copilot AI. Cool.
All right, I'll actually share my screen. This was the book I done a review of.
Nice.
About that. 1 second.
That's great.
We can see your screen.
Can you see
Perfect.
that?
Yeah.
So it's a book by Keith Powell, and it's understanding Copilot prompts and the functionality and security within the. So it kind of goes through everything from what is artificial intelligence and the Microsoft 365 Copilot, getting started with Copilot, writing preferred prompts, overview of the whole Microsoft 365 Copilot thing. So it covers Excel, Loop, Outlook, OneNote, PowerPoint, Teams, Whiteboard, Word. So it's fairly extensive. Just seeing there now, there is over 365 pages.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
372 to be precise.
So I have a
Wow,
story.
that's great work.
We should have Keith on the show. Keith's in Chicago. I know him pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah. For
So
Keith,
I was actually one of the reviewers of the
that's
post.
awesome. That's awesome.
And when I was writing the piece for the review, I wasn't too sure, and I just put my name down as Frank, but the publisher never actually put in my surname for.
Oh, wow.
It was over. They omitted it.
Okay.
So just to get back to this one here, the 15,000 that we were saying, I reached this week. You can see it on the left. See it here, 15,007.
That's awesome.
But when I looked that up on a PC, it showed as 14,850. And when you look on the mobile app, then it comes up as a different figure.
Huh.
Did you ever see that?
I have seen discrepancies between, and once you get to a certain number of followers, they used to tell you like a number, like an actual number. Now, I think when I go to whatever the URL is to look at your followers and who you're following, typically it just says you're following over 1,000 people. It used to tell you actual numbers, like you're following this many people and this many people are following you. I want to say I found that. I can see if I can dig up the URL, but there's two URLs to see who's following you and who you're following. And I think it's easier to find if you're on a PC. It's under Manage My Network. There's followers and following on that page. So I can put it into the chat here, the private chat. And for me today, it says you're following over 1,000 people, which I know. And then it says I have 16,823 people following me. And then if I look at my network, I can see that I believe I've got about 11. Yeah, I've got just over 11,000 connections. So the difference between my connections and my followers, I think, are the people that are just following me that either haven't been able to connect or, ran out of invitations to connect.
Yeah, but you see the amount of impressions for the last year in my account,
awesome.
76,800.
Yeah, I think Tommy just shared his numbers.
I'd say your number would probably go way over this than the amount of posts that you put up. So this is probably, I maybe do 3 or 4 a week on average.
Well, and that's the thing I found was sometimes posting every day actually decreases the amount of reach that I have. Because if I post something and miss a day or miss a couple days, a lot of times people see those posts that I made a couple days ago, not on the day that I published them. So in some ways, publishing frequently or more frequently is a good thing because it gets you more eyeballs. But sometimes it seems like if I take a break, like for International Women's Day in March, somebody from Madrid, Spain suggested, hey, let's be silent and just support through comments or through reposts women's voices for that day. So I didn't post myself, but I reposted and I commented on a bunch of stuff. And it actually helped the reach of the posts that I did prior to International Women's Day by not posting anything for a day. So it all becomes, kind of trial and error, experimenting with things. Frank, congrats. That's awesome. 15,000 is a huge number.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Very good. The thing on the AI Fest, Dan, that you were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
I actually done two particular topics, one on Microsoft Learn and one on OpenEDX.
Okay.
But I finished the two of them, but where does the badge come from?
The badge, that's a great question. When I went to aka.ms/AI Skills Fest and registered, the badge just showed up magically on that page. And then I got an email to the same email that I registered to say, congratulations, you were part of the April 8th, 24-hour Guinness Book of World Record attempt. So the world record attempt was only on April 8th. You had to do something on April 8th. The rest of the AI Skills Fest happens for 50 days till May 28th. So you have till May 28th to continue your learning. But the badge, if the badge is for a particular course, I'm assuming it should come from that platform. Like one of the links that I found on AI Skills Fest was actually to a LinkedIn learning path that was like 3.5 hours long. If I complete that entire 3.5 hours of training, which I didn't do on the 8th, I will get a badge from LinkedIn saying you've taken this course. And then I can decide whether to display that or share that or whatever. So if you took one on, you said OpenEdX?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got my badge from when you go to achievement. So after where you have challenge, you have orders. So I got the Microsoft AI Skills Festival participation badge. Yeah.
Yeah. Inside in achievements in Microsoft.
Yeah. So when you go to achievement, on your Microsoft dashboard. So when you go to achievement and then click on order, right beside challenges.
Okay, I'll just check.
Yeah, so that was why I saw mine. So mine just like for the festival participation. So it wasn't like for a particular class or so.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now.
Yeah, so mine was with the dates and everything. I said completed on the 8th April.
So I just share my screen there again with you.
Sure. We can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this one.
No, when you click on that order where you have challenges, right beside challenges, at the top there.
Not the modules, the challenge.
No, where you have achievement, just come down. Can you see where you have plan, challenges, and you have order?
Yeah.
No.
So this challenge.
No, you're there, you're here. Just come down where you have achievement. Can you see where you have your modules, learning paths, courses, plan, challenge?
Order.
Yeah. So click on that and see if it's So that's it. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can just click on that share and then maybe share. So what I did was to take
the print
download, take
share,
a screenshot and then download as an image.
Yep. And then
Yeah,
the
so
print icon also shows you the badge, I think. So if you want to
yeah,
badge, or if you want to just take a screenshot of the badge, you can do that too.
yeah,
Okay.
just take a screenshot. Yeah, because that's what I did. I took a screenshot of the badge. Yeah.
If I just go to
The print
So
icon.
click on that. Yeah, there. Yeah, yeah. So that's it. Yeah,
Then you can take a screenshot of that.
yeah. So
or
that gives
no,
you that
no,
the
what,
badge
Dan?
that you.
This is the picture of us in LinkedIn.
That's the one I was looking for.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
I
that
was-
Joseph?
I know
Yeah.
we took a picture outside the LinkedIn sign. But
Joseph, I thought you did. I thought
That-
that Joseph standing.
That's not me.
I standing like Joseph.
That's not me still. Maybe one day I'll be there.
That's a big office. Out of all the offices I visited, Dublin was the biggest. But it's also their European like hub for everything that happens in Europe. So Jack was telling us that a lot of his customers fly into Dublin. Sometimes he goes and visits the customer where they are, but a lot of times they come to Dublin to meet with him.
So there we go, Dan, your snippet too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Jeff's snippet tool, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Rubing.
So who's the brain behind Snipping to say it again?
Jeff Rubring. I can put his contact info
Okay.
in the
I think
chat.
you're saying that before my connection.
Yeah, he's a great technologist, and just really, it's Rubing, like Bing, and then an H at the end of his name.
I'll probably give him a follow on LinkedIn.
Yeah, he's awesome. He puts out lots of great content, and just a great connection to have. So I'll put a link to his LinkedIn profile too here.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Cool.
Give him a follow. He's a top voice now too. He's got almost 22,000 followers.
Okay, cool.
That's great.
You actually know Keith Powell, then, do you?
Yeah, Keith and I worked together quite a bit in Chicago. Keith, the first time I saw Keith, I thought Bill Gates walked by me. Keith, I don't think wears glasses as often as he used to, but when he wore glasses, if you weren't like focused directly on him, he looked like Bill Gates walking around the office. And I thought it was just me, maybe, like I mistook him, but I've talked to a lot of people that have met him in person and thought they were talking to Bill Gates. Super, super nice guy. But I will tell Keith that we ran into each other in person in Cork.
Okay, cool. So look, we're just up on the hour. I'll just end the live show, and we'll definitely mark this one as being high impact, because
Yes.
we had Scott joining us.
Yes. Well, and just the amount
of
of people that you've had on, Frank. I mean, I think every week has an impact. It's just a matter of, where in the world we're broadcasting from. We've had Ami from Israel. We've had Seena from Bahrain. We've got folks from Canada that have joined us. Lorraine Lawrence, I think, might be in Canada, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to recall where she's from.
So we have loads of comments in the chat below the show this week from Scott. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Lorraine's in the United States too, but I know we've had a couple of folks from Canada on the show, and it's just Australia has been represented. It's really cool to see how many different places we have had people join us from. India, Prathap.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
We had somebody from Mozambique.
Yeah. I've lost count of the countries. I think even if you looked at countries, Frank, that you have impacted with guests, that would be a pretty high impact number.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So listen, thanks everybody for joining us this week. Next week, Joseph is going to be hosting for us, and hopefully Dan will be here. I'm just traveling to see some family next week, so I'll be unable to have good broadband to attend. So thanks everyone for joining us. I'm back here next week with Joseph and Dan. Thank you.
Nice. Bye.
Bye, everyone.